We are back live. I don't know how to find out if we can hear.
Can we see who's on?
What's that?
Can we just have somebody to unmute and tell us that they can hear?
Okay. Testing, testing. Can Zoom hear?
We can hear, we can't see you.
Okay.
Now we can see you.
Right. All right. Good evening. If anyone in person or online would like to participate in public comment, please approach the podium or use the raised hand icon and wait to be recognized. Once recognized, please state your name and address for the record and note that you will have up to 3 minutes to comment. Please note your time with the chair.
Okay. Go ahead.
Good evening, Darien Board of Ed, I'm Dr. Adley and faculty here in Darien. I am Tracy Marr. I live at 16 Sunswick Road, but I am here in my official capacity as a state representative in Darien. I am here to inform you of some issues we have at the State House. This year, the state of Connecticut established a new subcommittee under the Education Committee specifically focused on special education. As we all know, both here in Darien and across the state, special education plays a vital role in the success and well-being of our students and is facing some serious challenges. Over the past few years, we've seen skyrocketing costs, difficult experiences for families, and growing pressures on school districts financially without proper state assistance. And at the heart of it all is the student. While some districts are better equipped to handle these complex issues and volatile costs, the reality is that special education in Connecticut is both costly and frankly inequitable. So yesterday, the Special Education Committee held their one and only public hearing on House Bill 7277. This bill proposed a number of significant changes to how special education is funded and implemented in our state. Some of these are pie in the sky, some of them we can't fund, and some of them are really thoughtful ideas. It provides special grant options for in-district improvements. It looks at regionalizing some services. It proposes to set rates for outplacement services with a menu of treatment options, and it proposes adding an ombudsman. So like many bills, it has its good and its bad and frankly, frustrating elements. But this is a public hearing process. So that's why I'm here to let you know that after the input from this, there will be changes. And then, a 3-minute comment obviously doesn't allow much to unpack the nuances that we have here. So I would like to offer to you a time that anybody that didn't actually get to speak or have a lot to say on special education. I was going to say 8:30 on Thursday, but it sounds like you all have a meeting at 9. So maybe I can do like a 1 o'clock on Thursday. I don't have the place set yet, but please just check my social media. I'll put it out and I'll send an email out. I invite you to come in, give me your thoughts on the bill or your thoughts in general on special education. And I can put together a letter for all the constituents here in Darien and make sure that the chairs of the Special Education Committee hear some of our issues here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy.
Would anybody else in person like to participate? Online? We have no raised hands at this time.
Student representative reports, Brenna and Ryan.
Good evening. We hope everyone had a very restful, relaxing spring recess. We've officially begun our 4th quarter. Crazy to think, crazy to realize. And today we just had our annual college fair. We thank all of our representatives and our counseling team, as well as all the students who helped and parents to make this possible. We thank you for your time and support. We'll have a PLC this Friday, and next Friday, our senior prom, something very exciting for this graduating class as we come to the final end of our final chapter, and we look forward to seeing everyone there.
Yeah, just building off what Brenna said, the spring session has begun. A lot of spring sports going on right now, well underway. Our junior students recently received their SATs, their scores last Thursday. So hoping for some good scores there. And AP exams begin in just under 2 weeks, which is crazy to say. Seniors begin their internship momentarily right after those AP exams, and also have their walkthroughs through the elementary schools, which is an exciting time for, I think, any student at those elementary schools to see just amazing seniors who have accomplished so much. And our junior prom is May 31st, so not as soon as the senior prom, but still a big date on the calendar.
Thank you both. Approval of the minutes. May I have a motion to approve the following minutes of the special and regular meetings held on March 25th, 2025? That's Sarah, seconded by Dennis. All those in favor?
Hold on one second. So thank you to those of you that submitted the typos. There was a typo in one of the names, and then I had Robin's or your name instead of Robin's name once. So I've amended him. We'll do it as amended.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, so yeah, so one of the speakers' names was changed and
Yeah.
then, okay. All right, so as amended, all those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Board committee reports. I think we've had any. Sarah?
Curriculum committee met on the date before break. We talked about literacy as we always do, and we talked about the progress reports, which both will be updated tonight for the full board. We had pretty robust discussions about each and specific questions about the progress reports. So if there are more specific questions, I encourage the public and you all to watch that meeting. But you'll get a smaller update this break now.
Finance, John?
And Finance had a meeting April 10th. We discussed the current surplus in this year's budget, and there are 2 small transfers up for consideration this evening.
Anyone else? No? Okay. All right, we'll move on to presentations, discussions, and possible action. Discussion and possible acceptance of the contemplated gift for Holmes Elementary.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kathy Jabara, and I'm a current co-chair of the Homeschool PTO. The PTO would like to purchase and gift Homeschool a new hawk mascot costume. The current costume is not used often because it has limited visibility from the mascot head, which is considered a safety issue. The new costume will have improved visibility and comfort and will be used at both school and PTO events. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Sounds exciting. Okay, with that, may I have a motion to accept the contemplated gift for Holmes Elementary? That's Joanna, seconded by Dennis. All those. That is unanimous. Thank you, Holmes PTO, and thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Homer says thank you.
Okay, discussion and possible acceptance of contemplated gifts for the athletic department. Chris?
Good evening, everybody. You have a few contemplated gifts there in front of you this evening for consideration. The first 2 come from the Darien Youth Lacrosse Association, the yearly gift that they like to give to both the boys and girls lacrosse teams in the amount of $5,000 each. Both teams would like to use that money towards coach buses, film review, and huddle, which is the breakdown of that film at all 3 levels of play. And then you have 2 contemplated gifts there from the Darien Booster Club. One for the boys and girls basketball team. It's a shooting machine that feeds players shots in a kind of a rapid fashion. And then a contemplated gifts there for the football team, which was a two-person blocking sled for the offensive defensive line. The one they have is about 8 or 9 years old now, is in need of replacement.
Okay, questions about the gifts? Sarah?
Thanks. So I submitted a couple questions. Chris, thank you for the answers, but I don't know that it was sent around. So I just wanted to everybody to be able to hear them. So one of my questions was why this busing, how is it different than what we currently do? So just we talk about this transportation issue in your IC just often, period. So just can you discuss why this is necessary and how is it different than what is currently happening?
Sure. So the district does provide busing for all of our athletic away contests. If a team requires or requests a coach bus for a longer trip, usually out of state, somewhere in the tri-state area or Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Rhode Island, they would pay the difference what the coach bus costs minus what the school bus would cost. And those funds come from this team's activity account or fundraising endeavors. So you have here the consideration for, upgrading of coach buses for some of the longer trips that the teams take at the 3 levels that apply for both the boys and girls lacrosse teams.
Okay, and just building on that. So my understanding is that the teams fundraise for the, for lack of a better word, called an upgraded bus experience, right? So is this, this went over my head, but has DY Lax done this in the past? Have we had outside groups pay for this in the past, or has it been fundraised by the teams?
Both. DOLX has given, this gift in the past, and some of that gift has gone towards this upgrade of coach buses, as well as you can see there, the cost of the filming associated with both teams as well.
Okay.
I think it's also true about maybe 2 times a week in the spring that we can't get the first student buses as well, so we have to have some of the coach buses.
Robin.
I had just a couple questions on the other 2 gifts, the basketball team gift and the football gift. Just to clarify, is the total amount that the Booster Club is giving the amount that's checked in the box on the form, or is it the total amount that's on the invoice? Because the invoices had larger dollar amounts than what was checked off. So I just want to understand if the Booster Club is subsidizing all of this, or is the school paying part of it?
No, the Booster Club would subsidize all of it. I think the quotes came in a little higher than we first anticipated. So, but the school would not be subsidized any part of this.
Okay, thank you.
So the gifts are closer to about
Mhm.
$12,000 a team, just over.
From the Booster Club.
No, I'm looking at the DY Lax ones.
Oh, DOLX would be $5,000 each to the boys and girls lacrosse programs.
It just has some numbers here, Chris, where it says upgrade to coach buses, which can be 5,000, film review 4,900, and huddle subscription 2,400.
Right. So the difference would have to come from if the teams wanted to fundraise for the difference.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Other questions? Okay. With that, may I have a motion to accept the contemplated gift for the Darien High School Athletic Department Boys Lacrosse Program? That is Joanna, seconded by Robin. All those in favor? That is unanimous. We have a motion to accept the contemplated gift for the Darien High School Athletic Department Girls Lacrosse Program. That is Dennis, seconded by Dave. All those in favor? That is unanimous. May I have a motion to accept the contemplated gift for the Darien High School Athletic Department Boys and Girls Basketball Program? Joanna, seconded by Dennis. All those in favor? That is unanimous. I may have a motion to accept the contemplated gift for the Darien High School Athletic Department Boys Football Program. That is Robin, seconded by Joanna. All those in favor? Okay, all those opposed? Abstentions, that's Mr. Singh. Okay. All right. Thank you all. Thank you to DY Lax, to the boosters, and the boosters. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, update on progress report revisions, Ms. Roller.
So just if I may just preface these 2 agenda items, as was stated a wee bit earlier, these were fully discussed at the curriculum committee meeting. We did attach the pertinent parts of the curriculum committee meeting, and also the presentations were attached to these memos. So we're attempting to give just a high level update to the board on each of these and field any questions that the board may have.
Thank you.
So just to update you on our progress report revisions, the impetus for this work was came out of the contract negotiations between the DEA and the Board of Education in 2023. We have a committee that was delegated by the DEA, and we started meeting in 2023. Our goal was to improve communication with families, to revise our indicators so that they were better aligned with the curriculum and standards, to ensure consistency with our narratives, and to look at the timing of our conferences and progress reports. This committee recommended that we move our fall conferences to October so that we had an earlier opportunity to connect with families. They revised some of the indicators. We had a teacher survey, and it was a very collaborative and iterative process. We went back and forth with teachers and the literacy committee, the math committee, and we did make revisions. We shared it with families, and we had a survey and got their feedback. So the board will see the final progress reports in the fall, but the next step of our work is to create rubrics and a handbook for families and teachers to really understand what all of those indicators mean and what the scores mean across the year. And to improve Aspen as well in terms of ease of usability for teachers and for families. It was a little bit difficult to print for some people. That was some feedback. So you'll be seeing that again in the fall. We will be maintaining comments on our progress report, but one of our goals was to ensure consistency, and that's work that our teachers have done as well. So that's a high-level overview. Are there any questions?
Any questions? No. Thank you very much for the overview and for the thorough presentation for curriculum.
You're welcome.
Okay, update on the K-3 literacy program.
And this also, and Dr. Fettigan, I don't know if you have anything to add, or Mrs. Klein, this is something that the three of us are co-chairing together. We have, as you know, we've met with our core literacy review team for 2 years, and we now have a smaller subcommittee that is sort of our decision-making body. They are synthesizing all of the information from teacher feedback, from surveys, from focus groups, our student data, classroom observations from our administrators. And we're looking at all of that data. We established an instructional framework that aligns with our values as well as the science of reading. And we are just really synthesizing all of that information and coming up with a program that best meets the needs of all of our students. Tomorrow is our last meeting, and we are hoping to wrap this up. It's been a very long process, and I know that everybody is anxious to hear about next steps, which we will be presenting to the curriculum committee on May 7th and the full board on May 13th. Any questions?
Go ahead, Joanne.
So I think you mentioned this in the meeting, and also it was written in the memo, that a comparative analysis between InterReading and the district's current literacy program was completed, and the data did not indicate any difference in student outcomes at this time. Could you elucidate more what that analysis was, what data points you used, what that looked like?
We used our universal screener, Ames Web, and we looked at fall to winter growth for this year. And then we looked at winter over winter, year over year. We looked at our curriculum assessments. We looked at writing samples. It would really be, in the short month that we've implemented a program, we wouldn't really expect to see any data. That's more of a long-term kind of thing.
Katie?
Thank you. I wanted to follow up on that question because I noticed that as well. And I just wanted to highlight that what you were speaking of just now in terms of those assessments are really just qualitative data of the students this year and do not reflect the quantitative data. It does not reflect the qualitative data that we've been hearing from the teachers throughout this year-long process, because I know, throughout multiple curriculum subcommittees, we've heard quite a bit of feedback from the teachers about strengths of certain programs, new areas of deficiency. So I just want to highlight that
Yes,
this is
absolutely.
just
That was
quantitative
just student data.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
One thing, if I can just add to that point, I think one of the important things was we didn't want to just get feedback from the surveys because sometimes they're completed, sometimes people spend a great deal of time, other times it's a quick response. So I found the focus groups that we held at each of the elementary schools to be particularly informative because they involved the teachers that were involved in the pilot, but also other grade level teachers that may have not been as involved in the pilot that were using our current resources. So it just gave an opportunity to broaden the discussion, another opportunity to make sure that every elementary teacher in the district has had an opportunity for voice, not just the people that are on the core, steering committee or core review team or in the smaller group. So that was where we could get some more of that qualitative data and hear more from the teachers, I think, that you're referring to.
Robin?
Just one follow-up question. Amy, was that the focus groups, was that the meeting that occurred like the day after our curriculum committee meeting? I know there was a meeting that was happening on the literacy.
So that's a great question. So the focus groups were held on different dates at each of the elementary schools. So grade level teachers from kindergarten through grade 5, actually. Primarily there was K-3 teachers that attended.
We did actually have K-5.
But they mostly were K-3 teachers, but K-5 were all included and invited. They were done at each of the elementary schools separately, so that we could hear, each school has a little bit of a different community and has maybe had a different focus with some of their professional learning. So that was really informative and instructive. We shared that focus group information back with the group that you're referring to. And that's our smaller subgroup committee that's really synthesizing all of the information from the larger group. And there's representatives in that smaller group from each of the elementary schools. There's also a member of the special education student support services department that's working with us on that. So it's just a more focused group that again has representation from across the district. So that's the group that met the day after our last meeting. That's the group that will be meeting again tomorrow for our final session together.
Thank you.
To wrap up our analysis, yeah.
Can you just remind us what administrative members are in that committee that will be meeting tomorrow?
Sure. There are, Shirley is in the committee. I have been to every meeting that we've had. Mrs. Droller is there. We have 2 elementary school principals. And again, teachers from different grade levels that represent each of our 5 elementary schools. Yeah.
And I'll be in and out to listen.
Sorry.
I will be in and out to listen.
Another.
All right, thank you both again for the memo and the extensive work that accompanies it at the curriculum subcommittee.
Thank you.
Okay, move on to finance. Discussion on March 2025 financial report and possible action on proposed budget transfers.
So this is the financial report through March. We are forecasting a positive balance of 429,940. The general education RCs are projected deficit of 5,979, while the special education RCs are forecasted at a positive 435,000. Moving to salaries does have a positive variance of about $38,000. We have some salary savings of just over $20,000, some savings in building subs for about $5,500, and some clubs and councils that are not running for $11,800. Moving to operating is a positive 169,754. We do have a positive balance in out-of-district tuition of about 219,000. We do have a projected deficit for a pending superintendent search firm for 30,000. Deficit for contracted services for a contracted paraprofessional to get us through the end of the year for about 16,000. And then a pending purchase for cell phone bags at the high school for a trial purchase of 3,700. Moving to fixed, we have a positive balance of just over 6,000. This primarily comes from some credits that we received from Kerma for workers' compensation for $4,600. Revenue is forecasted at a positive $216,024. This is primarily due to the excess cost reimbursement of $216,455, and this is due to the additional funding that the state legislator put forward for the year. We are still waiting for that reimbursement to be received, though. We do have 2 transfers we are recommending for the board approval. The first is for $3,710, and that is for a trial purchase of about 200 cell phone bags at the high school. And we are recommending taking the funds from the credits received from workers' compensation. And then the second is for $16,000 for consult services and special education for a contracted substitute para. And this is just due to a vacancy in the paraprofessional line item, and it's just due to the lateness of the resignation of Emily.
Okay, any questions about the financial report? Okay. Question about the transfers? With that, may I have a motion to approve the March budget transfers? And it's John, seconded by Sarah. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Okay. Second reading and further discussion and possible action on proposed revisions to Board of Education policies 4118 and 5275, prohibition of sex discrimination and sex-based harassment, personnel and student versions, policies 1300, 4111, and 5710, non-discrimination, community personnel and students. March.
I mean, we, at the board's request, we included Shipman and Goodwin's actual legal opinion. And other than that, I don't know whether there are any questions.
Okay. Questions about Shipman and Glynn's opinion?
Can you just summarize the legal opinion?
Well, the legal opinion is that Connecticut law still protects students and staff from discrimination on the basis of gender identity and expression. And it's unclear at this point whether an executive order has the force of law to invoke the supremacy clause. We're still required to follow Connecticut law. And we do need a Title IX policy. The Title IX policy on the website right now has been deemed by the courts and the federal government to be invalid.
John?
Had the opportunity to go to a development meeting of a large public school. And this issue came up in a Q&A, and, you know, the president basically indicated that right now we're all dealing with a lot of complexities between some differences between federal mandates and state laws. And so, as I stated at the last meeting, I think we should follow as this kind of unravels, if you will, or further develops, I think we should follow the guidance of council. So I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
And that motion is to adopt the policies as they were presented to the policy committee with the elimination of the reference to Title IX policy in policy 5275.
Okay.
That's what's in the packet. Yeah.
Exactly what's been
Is it just-
outlined in the recommendations as outlined in the packet.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do I have a second? Joanna, all those in favor? Okay, that's Sini, Parent, McCammon, Nelson, Maroney, Lublin, Walsh. All those opposed? Brown. All those abstaining? Grambly. Thank you. Any follow-up action items?
Can I just ask, was that a vote on the Title IX and the non-discrimination? Okay.
No, the action items, Madam Chair, are, as you see here, we have a couple still in the works. That's the communication plan, primarily, and the crosswalking with the strategic plan. So we're nearly finished with that.
Okay,
And the board handbook, we're still with that. That's with me right now.
okay. Any other portions for the follow-up items? Okay. Public comment?
Good evening. If anybody in person or online would like to participate in public comment, please approach the podium or use the raised hand icon and wait to be recognized. Please state your name and address for the record, and please note you'll have up to 3 minutes to comment. We have no raised hands or people in person.
Okay. For that, may I have a motion to adjourn? That is Kate, seconded by Dennis. All those in favor, that